Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully everybody's having a good evening. And, well, let's get it started, right? We got so much content tonight. I have so much excellent content. So much good stuff. And guess who's live? Guess who's live? It's your friend, Rosie. She's back. She said she was going to be taking a quitting YouTube. Didn't really say for how long. Turns out that she's already back. Is the music too loud? Probably. It's probably going over my voice. All right. Rosie's back. Back again. Feed her bait. Never ends. All right.
Trivia. I'm so bad at trivia.
We're going to get back to Rosie in just a second. Welcome in Fiona's mom.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Nutty.
Is there like a website I could use or something we could do? I don't know. Hey, M Journal.
Let me put the mute on this so I can hear you folks properly. Capricorn and Jay, welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you there, friend. Elizu, good to see you, friend. Hippieista, good to see you. No problem. No problem. Glad you could make it. Welcome in, Susie Q. Good to see you again. Glad you could make it. They all come back at some point. They really do. There's some kind of, I think they put sugar in the YouTube algorithm. Anyway, let's watch some Rosie. I know we're going to do glitter and lasers. In fact, that was the main subject of tonight. I wanted to do glitter and lasers for like basically most of the show. And we probably still will, at least for a lot of the show. Because she gave us a really great video, like a 30-minute, full 30-minute vid discussing her surgeries and how they've been really a failure and all that good stuff. But Rosie is live and she's been off for a month. She's doing some cooking, some feeder bait. Let's take a quick look at it. And if it's interesting, we'll stay on it. If not, we'll switch back to glitter. Foodie also put out some really great lives this week. I actually have more content than I know what to do with for once. So let's enjoy some of it, right? It's nice to have a surplus of content for once. It's usually the other way around. Okay.
Definitely do want to do some cooking streams. I miss cooking with you guys. This is why we don't have nice things.
Why is it not showing?
Exactly. So,
there
yeah. I'm not dealing with it. I think there are some people I know I can trust now, and some people that I know I can never trust. But
so Rosie is back. She's in her kitchen. She looks like she's gotten bigger. Last time, if anybody doesn't remember why, last time she left YouTube because I remember this now. Elizu and I talked about it. Her biggest donor, I forgot their name, but somebody who donated hundreds of dollars to her, if not $1,000, maybe even more, but hundreds at the least, donated to her channel. One of her mods apparently was a rogue mod and blocked this donor. Rosie didn't even notice they were gone for over a week. And after getting thoroughly embarrassed for not giving a darn about any of her viewers, just not even her biggest donor, she decided to take a month off break just, I don't know, to recover from the embarrassment, hope people would forget about it. I'm not sure exactly what, but that's basically what happened. So now she's back. Apparently YouTube is no longer toxic. It's become a hug box again for her. Either that or she's become super strong again. She's like glitter and lasers. She's super freaking strong now. So she can handle it. Although glitter and lasers just left. So who knows how that works. So yeah, let's let it keep going.
thank you so much, Kiwi. I appreciate that.
And if it gets boring, we'll go back to the glitter and lasers. But I want to at least let it play a little bit, right? Let's see what your comments are, folks. Welcome you folks in tonight. Oh, and to anybody just coming in, please hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to see more of this content. And be sure to click on top chat if you'd like to see if you want to make sure that you're not missing any of the chat. I'm just retitling the show really quickly because it is a live Rosee React, so that's what we're going to title it. Okay, so let's get back to the live Rosee React. well, actually, let me finish catching up on the chat, and then we'll get back to the React. So yeah, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Sense of Water. Good to see you. Rosie does look big. She looks like she gained back any weight that she lost. She looks as big as I've ever seen her, in my opinion. Welcome in, Sense of Wander. Anybody else that I missed? Jamie Carpenter, good to see you. Sabin Nation, good to see you again. Sabin Nation, missed you. If I missed anybody else, my apologies. Let's get back to the show.
Where'd Mother Glass go? It's thundering outside and it's so soothing. Ooh.
But she did a little bit of cooking earlier. She did a little bit of feeder bait. She made like some pizzas.
2 months.
So she drank some root beer and made some pizzas.
Content about that and stuff.
These pizzas that she made, it's hard to get a good look at them because they are at the bottom of the screen. They're kind of obscured by the...
And then that just evolved.
By the thing. Hopefully you can see them.
Like, videos dedicated about me, I don't watch them.
Let me hide the current comment.
And, but I do read my own comments. I do have people that DM me stuff.
So you can see what Rosie's eating.
Of course, have people who get way too meddlesome.
What she's making, I'll pause it for a second just to say it. So she's got cheese on what looks like pepperoni on bagels. That's not what I would call healthy, but she doesn't have to eat healthy. But it just feels like feeder bait when she eats on camera.
I wanted to, like, regardless of any other potential opportunities that might have changed, because my symptoms have just been really rough.
Well, did she admit they've been a failure? Not in her words. I shouldn't have said that. That's not accurate. She has all but admitted they've been a failure. Here's her words. She said that they were, let me spoil the video because I don't want to be accused of misspeaking. She said that they're going to need 18 months before she can see the results from her surgery. We all know darn well that you see the results from liposuction immediately. If she's telling us we need 18 months to see the results, she may as well say they've been a failure. She won't use the words failure. She says she doesn't regret it, but we're going to watch the video. And let's see if you really think she's being honest when she says she doesn't regret it. That's what I want everybody, that's what I want to do the reaction to it. And I want everybody else to react as well. Tell me what you think. But let's get back to Rosie right now. But that's a good question, Capricorn.
It's scaring me, and I'm terrified.
No problem. Thank you for asking. Glad I can clear that up.
Because I don't have the I mean, the truth is that the conclusion that I've come to is that I need a treatment similar to like what Tammy Slayton was able to do, but I can't afford it.
Wow. So Rosie is being honest here, saying she thinks she needs weight loss surgery. This is actually some good tea. I'm glad we tuned in. I think that's, I don't disagree, but I think that she needs to try to take some steps in the right direction prior to the surgery, like Dr. Now does. He puts you on that 1,000 calorie a day diet to get you to lose enough weight before the surgery to see if there's a possibility that you're going to be able to handle it, because there is the danger. I know most of the people in this chat are pretty well educated on weight loss surgery and the recovery and the side effects, but anybody who's not aware, weight loss surgery, if you overeat after the surgery, if you overeat in large amounts, it's possible to rupture your guts, to rupture your intestine where the surgery was done. So yeah, be very careful, Rosie, if you think that's a solution, because I hope it is, but just be very careful.
That's just not even on the cards for me. And I would do quite literally anything to gain access to that kind of reason. We
always need some more new girls, excuse me. It's hard to find ones who are interesting and who aren't too depressing. That's what I found is the problem. It's not hard to find new girls, but either they're depressing or they're boring. It's hard to find people who are interesting and not depressing. That's the combo that's tough to find, at least from what I've seen.
Resource, to be honest with you.
And I do agree.
It sucks that that's what I need, because I 30 days wouldn't be enough. I would need like
you like some Rosie? I got your dose of Rosie. I don't hate any of these people.
I think
I mean, I do dislike Anna. I'll admit that.
see results
Look at here you are.
like you would see with Tammy. You know what I mean?
She wants to see results like with Tammy. So Rosie doesn't want to just lose a little bit of weight. She wants to lose it all. I think that's. I mean, I understand where she's coming from. I think it's a good idea though to set small, reasonable goals, because it's very difficult to do everything all at once, and it's very easy to fail, and it's very easy to rebound and end up worse than where you started.
Like,
so I hope she's not setting herself up for failure.
And she was able to do that because of the show that she was on.
Oh wow, Capricorn, that's
damn.
That is you are right.
Such an inaccessible.
Holy crap!
Option to me, and it sucks.
Wow.
Because I would quit my job and I would go in a heartbeat and do residential, like.
So is Rosie saying she wants to go on 600-pound life? Dr. Now, I think this is Rosie saying she wants to go on the show. And I might be joking around a little bit because I want this show to be fun and have a lighthearted element to it. But I'm serious in the sense that I think that might be good for her. I think a show like 600-Pound Life, where somebody like Dr. Now could assess if she's a good candidate for surgery or not, is what she needs. She needs to find out, because if she's not a good candidate, there's no point in putting her faith in something that isn't going to happen.
Recovery treatment for
you think so? Exactly Save the Nation? I think so too.
Like, but is it rehab? Like, I don't know.
I think so, but I don't know. I shouldn't say I know. We'll see, but I'm leaning in that direction. That's a better way to say it. That's the direction I'm leaning, but I don't want to say for sure yet. Let's see some more.
I'm talking about yeah, Inpatient. Tammy Slayton is from 1,000 Pound Sisters.
Good point.
But
I like that theory.
Those types of things cost like,
oh my God,
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. I hope she's doing, hope she's recovered from that, at least as much as she can. I knew someone, I mentioned this story a few times now. I wasn't especially close with them, but I did know a gentleman who had gastric bypass surgery, the full one. I think it's called the Roux-en-Y. I don't know the terms exactly, but the full one where they disconnect the intestine and they remove a chunk of the stomach. The big procedure, the one they did years and years ago. I think they still do it sometimes. But anyway, he ate so darn much that it ruptured and he almost died. And I think he actually did end up passing a few years later, but he almost died from that particular incident. Hopefully YouTube doesn't take this video off, because this is important information and this should not be censored off YouTube, because I'm sharing medical information here, right?
Dollars. And even with insurance assistance,
yeah, that's horrible. Sense of wonder.
There's no way I could afford the co-pays for the amount of time I would need. That's not really how it works. Unfortunately, they don't really. That's not really a thing. But
I was not aware of all that.
I have looked into it before, and there's.
Welcome in, Shelley. Good to see you.
Anyways. I've never found any kind of that. I don't think those exist, Shawnee.
Is that a mud skipper or something? Is that some kind of amphibian? That's an interesting picture you got there. Looks like a new one. But yeah, welcome in, Shelly. Good to see you. We got Rosie on tonight. I was originally going to be doing the Glitter and Lazers update. She finally did a new video. We finally get to go in depth on her 4th surgery, her response. We still will later tonight. But Rosie's live. And she's back after a month hiatus, and she's talking about weight loss surgery. So this is a good content. Got to do it.
Because I've looked into it in the past.
Great point, Denise.
But I feel like, to me, like, that would be the ideal.
There you go.
Solution
that's
would
the
work
tough
best for
combo.
Me.
It was probably an anklet or something at least.
And I think it would really, really help me. But because I feel like surgery is like a really scary option with the significant level of mental health issue
Oh,
that
wow.
I have that I'm unable to.
So I guess it still depends, it depends on the doctor, depends on the patient. I'm not really, to be fair, I haven't looked into it in a while, but if that's what works, then heck yeah, that's right. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, I know that one's very serious. That one, it's very important that the aftercare is good, because if you're not careful, that can really you could really end up messing yourself up. But yes, I think it's good that we're mostly on the same page here. I think we're pretty much in agreement that Rosie needs to do some kind of inpatient first, like they do on 600-Pound Life, where she shows that she's able to stick to some kind of a diet for a period of time, inpatient. Because if she can't do that, then she's not a good candidate for surgery. And like Elizu said, like a few people said, this could just be her in her active addiction. She's struggling with the food addiction. She's literally making pepperoni bagel pizza as she's talking about weight loss surgery. Does she even realize what she's saying?
Keep consistently in check. Like, I'm still 33. I still can't consistently, because like I'm currently in a super
axolotl,
like down
interesting,
depressive episode, and so
indeed, Nutty. Welcome in, Fallen Angel. Good to see you. Exactly. She needs to attack from every angle.
Exactly, Miss Diana. And it's like I am actually concerned about those tools clashing with like my mental health, but I'm still open to it. It's just like, again, it's also the cost and the copays of weight
the cost
loss
shouldn't be a factor,
like
Rosie.
too. It's all just so much. And
when I say the cost shouldn't be a factor, I don't mean that that price doesn't matter. I don't mean it like that. I mean that if it shouldn't be the money that is like your main issue. Like if you're a good candidate, then you should try to get your insurance to approve it in some way. If you're really a good candidate, then you should go out of your way to try to find some way to get it. And if you're a bad candidate, it doesn't matter how cheaply you can get it. I think that's why I'm trying to say it. That's my point. That the price, unfortunately, that's the reality of life sometimes, that money is the deciding factor, but don't let that be like the first deciding factor, is what I'm saying.
Obviously doing everything you can do to even qualify for surgery. It's all just very overwhelming.
I sped up Rosie just a little bit.
And also, of course, the scary stories and all of that. It's like, thank you, Quinn. I appreciate you.
I agree there, Sabin. I think she probably switched to alcohol.
Exactly. I don't really like Jillian Michaels.
Very possible.
I think she's a sellout. And I think Biggest Loser is really
problematic. That's fantastic, Jamie. And for anybody not aware, I know Jamie shared this. Hopefully she doesn't mind me sharing, but Jamie mentioned about the weight loss surgery. I know she's been having a lot of success, and I just want to say again that I'm very proud of you, Jamie. I think that's fantastic that you're making a real change for your health. I'm just very happy to see it. So hearts in chat for Jamie here. I know she's really, she's done a lot for herself the last with that surgery and everything.
I used to not think that when I was younger. I watched it all the time. I even auditioned for it once. I was on my local news about it.
She's talking about 600-Pound Life?
That was in like 2011, 10, something like that. Yeah, I did nicotine. I didn't. It was like an open call thing. I didn't even get selected into a next stage.
For the Biggest Loser she's talking about.
I'm glad I didn't do Biggest Loser. I was very young.
Wow. $50 of junk food. Like, was that of delivery or like of candy? Like, was it like a specific, like the same thing every day? Or was it, obviously if you don't want to share, but if you don't mind, I'd be interested to hear a little bit about that. Cause that's, I'm interested in that kind of thing. And I don't mean in a prurient way necessarily, as much as, how does, what what does the addiction look like? I guess is the kind of thing I want to know more, right? I know that when I used to overeat junk food, I explained it a few times. One of my big problems that I had was I would get a McDonald's breakfast sandwich before work. I would get 2 before work, and that just destroyed my diet. That was just the worst thing I could do. Get 2 sandwiches a day.
Yeah, I know, Diana. Yeah,
That's like a pound a week, every week.
That's just the other thing is like, I'm considering like the
And it
possibility.
was a lot less than $50, but it was still a heck of a, it added up to a lot of weight. It did not take long before I got heavy.
Of revisiting, trying Ozempic instead of Mounjaro just to see if it's a better reaction. I'm like open to the idea, but again, money. I have no idea what the obesity speed.
So she's saying it's about money why she can't get the Ozempic. She keeps saying about money. I feel like this is starting to get a little bit. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but Rosie goes on her show, her chat, and she's has a history of using this basically as a bank account, just going on here and talking about how she needs money. This is her first day back, and all she's doing is talking about how she needs money for weight loss drugs and for weight loss surgery, and she wishes she could get it, but she can't afford it. I mean, can't you wait 1 day, Rosie, before you start guilting your audience for money?
Run girl is. I've never heard of that.
Come on, give him a day.
Are you setting me up for a joke? It feels like you're setting me up for a joke.
I'm glad it's worked out well for you, Hippieista. Some people it doesn't, but thank goodness for a lot of people it does, right?
This insurance, I have no idea.
Needs to be a lifestyle change before the weight loss surgery.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I had really
with the weight loss surgery, like everybody here seems to understand, it's a tool, right?
a really
it's
bad
not a solution
experience
by itself.
Yeah, I don't know about that, dude. I don't know why
that's
you
possible.
brought that up.
Oh wow, I gotta catch up on chat.
Oh, that's sweet, Cooey.
Addictions are expensive, Fallen
Okay,
Angel,
Quinn.
and we ignore them. We don't
I'm
want
good,
to
Josie.
look at the cost.
I'm just pushing through.
And we
Hey,
don't
West
realize
Coast,
it.
good to see ya.
Addo. Oh, Nirvana, welcome in. I didn't see you come in here. Welcome in, Nirvana. I missed
Hey,
you coming in.
Jennifer. No, I've been live for an hour and a half. Oh no, you're fine, nicotine.
Well, I mean, if it's 100, we got to look at it like this also. There's opportunity cost, right? I think that's the word for it. Everybody has some luxury expenses, some, disposable income. Everybody spends money on something. Some people buy, or here's a good example. Some women, they like to buy shoes or cosmetics. Some guys buy video games. Some women buy video games. Some guys buy cosmetics and shoes. Heck, it's 2020, right? I mean, people buy whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is that everybody has some money they spend on something. But if you like to spend money on nice foods or whatever, that's I don't see anything wrong with that. I think it's a little different when it's somebody spending money on food they don't want to spend. Like if you spend money on health food because you like to eat health food and you want to buy, fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, you spend a little extra money on that. I wouldn't begrudge myself that. And if it's a treat once in a while, I wouldn't begrudge myself that either. So I don't know exactly what I probably shouldn't say so much like I know exactly what's going on, but everything in moderation, I guess is what I'm saying.
You didn't bug me.
Ooh, that does sound nice. Nothing wrong with that, Nutty. As long as it's, a healthy, steady
weird, Diana. Thank you
a
for
program, I
letting me know.
support it. Shelly, I keep pausing, but that is such a great point. I talk about that a lot, and I think that is so true, especially the palm oil. I think that the sugars are definitely an issue. I think it depends on the person, what they process. I know that for me, cutting out the palm oils and the soybean oils, definitely had an impact. You know, I have not been good with my diet the last month or two, and part of that's I've allowed a little bit of that snack food back into my diet, and just got to cut it back out, right? That's the trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right though. In America, we have a lot of that
you.
stuff was so good. Oh, that's an interesting. That sounds like a fun hobby. I had an aquarium when I was younger. It was fun. It was a surprising amount of work though. Yeah, once you start spending it regularly, like a daily kind of thing,
simply because you don't even notice. Once the bra's off, fuck it. Oh, that's the other thing that's been such a problem.
That is a nice hobby. Like, it's a healthy one.
I literally haven't left my house in almost 2 months, so my agoraphobia has really come back.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it's been like
nothing wrong with that if you enjoy it.
Like trying to mentally, even just ask my brother to be like, "Hey, can I use the car to go to the produce shop, or can we run up to the produce shop real quick, or something?"
I love that. Can we? You know what? Rosie just describing her daily life. Can I borrow the car to go buy fresh vegetables? Hey, brother, I want to go produce shopping. I want to get fresh vegetables and fruits. Can I borrow the car just to go buy fresh vegetables? You know what? Poor girl. She just needs transportation to get fresh vegetables. Come on.
Get out of the house, and I get into like full-fledged like anxiety panic. It's so stupid.
No, it's not that bad. But we do have
like phases of agoraphobia. So like, yes, I struggle with agoraphobia when my mental health.
It's not that bad, but we know that we do have. What we do have is if you go in the aisles with like the crackers and the snacks, you'll go like 95% of the items on that. Pardon me. Like 95% of the pre-made crackers and cookies will have palm oil or soybean oil in them. 100%, well, I shouldn't say 100%, but like 98% will have corn syrup. But like, there will have maybe one or two things that don't. And then they will have like the places where they have the fancy, quote, organic items. But half of those have palm oil too, if you really read the label.
This is really bad. And I feel trapped here because I don't have my van anymore. And I've been
once a week is good enough.
That agoraphobia feeling.
Lizu lives like a monk. I guess a nun, but whatever.
Like it started getting bad after the accident, and I lost the van. Like that when I lost my freedom to go where I wanted to go.
When she lost her freedom to go get fresh vegetables.
I'm sorry, mango orange.
It's just one big circular aisle of cereal. The whole store, it's just one circular aisle. It never ends. That's why, no, not really.
So for me, like the agoraphobia stuff, I mean, when I first struggled with it was it in 2015? It was like in my 20s, early 20s. Where I was just like, my issue is like getting out the door. Like that's where I have a lot of the problem. Once I'm like out in the world, it's like a little bit better.
I could share a little bit of information some people may not realize about fish tanks. A lot of fish do die, but the thing is, every now and then you'll get a fish that lives forever. So the thing is, you just have to go through a couple fish, and a few of them, unfortunately, are not going to be able to handle the stress of changing environment. Some of them might just naturally not be healthy. Some of them, for whatever reason, their mentality doesn't suit them to being in a tank. But then some fish, they thrive. Some fish just live forever. Like even if you mess up and you forget to feed them, or you mess up and the temperature's wrong for a week or whatever, like, you know, like even if you're not the best with keeping your aquarium, some fish just are so strong and hardy, they just keep going. So you'd be surprised. Sometimes fish can be, it seems like fish die easy, but sometimes fish, like I've had fish that just keep on living. Like they don't, you know, like I ended up having to give them away practically.
Especially if I'm with someone. If I'm by myself, it's a little different. which is why like I would like to be on FaceTime with someone, or you know, if possible. But if not, it is like a little more anxiety being out of the house alone, especially being in Florida
Of
with the
course.
current state of the world.
It's in Florida, right? The current state can't go outside. God forbid a Floridian, one of my neighbors sees me. They're gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at you! You're outside." What is she afraid of? Rosie, seriously, don't just use code words. Tell us, like, articulate your actual fear. Do you think somebody's gonna just randomly attack you? Because that's not agoraphobia. That's paranoia. That is a mental illness, though. Should get that looked into.
If you know, you know. Living in Florida.
You think you're getting eaten by an alligator?
I really want to hone in that point.
What's gonna happen?
People be crazy here,
Panther?
and I don't have the wherewithal to deal with it.
Rosie, you are the crazy person in Florida. You're the one that people in Florida don't want to run into.
Mango Orange, did you mean to say agoraphobia, or is this other word something else that I don't know? Athazagora. I think you meant to say have agoraphobic. So I just wanted to check with you because I don't.
Oh,
That's a
jeez,
very different spelling.
I'm sorry, Fallen Angel. That's gotta be annoying too, because she probably like really like wants it to work out too, right? Sorry about that. Oh, that's interesting. I never really knew that about goldfish.
I mean, if you don't know what's going on in Florida and like the crazy shit that happens on the streets to random people here,
Crazy stuff that happens. What do you think happens here compared to? Okay, but also let me phrase that. What do you think happens here compared to other states? Do you think like there's just random like groups of gangs like going around thrill killing people, like Escape from New York or Escape from LA? Or like Mad Max? Like, what does she think it is? She thinks like like gangs of killers are just roaming the street, just abducting people at random. Like, she's watched too many movies.
it's scary to leave the house sometimes. Because in Florida, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, in Florida. It's so bad, it's scary in Florida.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mango Orange. That's what I wanted.
And doesn't she live like in Winter Haven or something? Doesn't she live like in like one of like the nicer parts of Florida? Like, I can understand if she lived in maybe if she lived in parts of Broward County. Like, I'll be fair. There are parts of Broward County that are pretty rough. I was raised in South Florida. I grew up in Broward County. There are parts of Dade County. That's where Miami is, that it can be kind of rough. But Rosie lives like out the country somewhere. Like, there's not even any crime where she lives. Like, what's the crime rate where she lives? Like 1% or something? What's the murder rate where she lives?
Yeah, Mango is wild, exactly. Nar, hello. Been here 30 years. It's
fantastic, Angel of Glass. Saying,
dog. Been here for
like
good
to see you, by the way.
I'm quaking in my boots. I should have refused to go to Florida, and my besties from there. I mean, I don't.
Cereal has gotten expensive. That's the other thing about cereal. Cereal has gotten so darn expensive. You can't justify like $6 for one box of cereal. How many? Is it even going to last 6 days? Like, that's just not worth it.
Blame you. Yeah, the anti-trans laws are too unsafe. I don't blame you. You live in the villages in Florida. The village. I don't know where the villages is. It's
interesting.
Beautiful near the coast.
That probably helps save a lot of money.
Here. The weather's great. The people scare me.
Let me catch up on the chat. I'm behind in the chat.
That's why I live in Orlando.
She's scared. She's scared of all those cat callers. All those guys keep chasing her. All those feeder guys.
I'm scared to meet people here. Like,
well, I mean, I'm not going to say it never. I'm not going to say nobody ever gets stared at or harassed, but I mean, and it certainly can happen. But from what Rosie describes, like, she doesn't seem to have any. Like, she doesn't seem to live in an area where that happens very often, and not that it should ever happen, but it just seems like she's living off of fear more than actual information.
It's nice. Even the homeless are mostly respectful and mind their own business.
Agoraphobia.
Yeah, people will
right?
just like Yeah, I read about all crazy kind of altercations, and a lot of those like road rage videos which
Ohio,
happen in
LA,
Florida.
Jesus.
I'm not far from St. Pete. I love St. Pete. God, I love St. Pete. I miss
The
St. Pete.
Florida in Miami, right? That was
Little
Miami though,
Boos of
wasn't it?
Ohio. Come on up, I'll teach you some farm life. Hell yeah. No, she's in I almost said Orlando. She's in Norway, Kiki. You live in LA, that's what's up.
That did happen, to be
And
fair.
I'm so glad I pushed through my anxiety. I was so anxious about this. I mean, I've been
Agreed.
physically nauseous all day today from how anxious I've been. But the physical
That is
manifestation.
okay. See, that's the thing. At 259, it's reasonable. I guess that's part of the problem too. Is I guess it depends where you shop. Like, if you buy that, I mean, I don't really buy cereal because I just look at it, the price, and it was like $6 for Frosted Flakes. I guess it depends which brand you buy, but I certainly wasn't buying that.
Yeah. The physical manifestations of my mental health symptoms have been
I've heard that,
really
Elise.
bad
I can only
recently.
imagine.
And like
A lot of stuff here is affordable. Like you can get 18 eggs for the same price. That's why cereal is such a ripoff. You can get 18 eggs at Costco for like $6. You can get one box of Frosted Flakes for like $6.50 at Walgreens. Like seriously, like how could you even compare the two?
to a point that it's stupid. And I just constantly feel sick. And I fucking hate it here. Yeah, unfortunately, Kiki.
Yep, 18 eggs. You can get a gallon of milk for like $3.50, something like that. It's pretty affordable. A lot of stuff here is pretty affordable. But cereal is crazy. I don't know how they figure out the price.
People trying to talk to you every single second in New York, really? I always heard it was the opposite. I mean, I didn't live there, so you would know better than me, but I always heard the opposite. I'm in Kansas, but I work in a level 2 psych facility, so I see some things, and that puts a lot in perspective. You never know who you are walking next to in this world.
Well, Rosie hasn't talking too much more about the weight loss surgery, but I am still interested. I do want to cover glitter and lasers tonight, so I don't know if I'm much more. Okay, I'm going to cover a little bit more Rosie, but I still want to cover glitter and lasers too. I'm going to do the show a little bit later tonight. I know that. Show's going to run a little late tonight, folks.
Wait. What puts a lot into perspective? Can you clarify? I'm sorry. I have a really bad memory. I'm trying to remember what you're referring to. I'm trying, Audrey, but like...
Pretty much, Fallen Angel. Pretty much.
My mom needs...
Yeah, we're going to run a little bit over. There's just too much content.
My family needs
too much good content.
So I'm just grinding, right?
She is looking bigger. Okay. I thought that wasn't just me, but seriously, like her, like just everything looks a little more bigger. And I'm not trying to be mean even. I'm just saying it looks like she's gained a
I did take
amount.
a break from work, and I was like, if they fire me, they fire me, because my mental
Yes,
health
everybody,
is so
please
bad.
smash that like button.
And I was like, it's either this or I admit myself again, and I'm really trying to not do that again.
She's ready to admit herself to the psych ward again. Well, be careful, Rosie. Last time you admitted yourself, you then accused them of holding you against your will. I remember that. In fact, I need to review that, do a reaction to it. That interview she does where she talks about escaping from feederism. She said that she signed herself into a psych ward. Then she told them that she was a danger to herself. They held her for 3 more days, and then she accused them of holding her against her will and abusing her. So, Rosie, if I were you, I would not sign yourself into another psych ward because you're going to accuse them of holding you against your will. So don't do that. Yeah, she was kidnapped by the mental hospital. Well, thank you, Tucker. I appreciate that. Mom's doing all right. I'm sure she'll be happy to hear that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Krista. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's that, but sometimes it's just, you know.
Great point, Fallen Angel.
Good.
Great point, Fallen Angel. I didn't even think of that. Psych ward's expensive. Psych ward's expensive. The only time you get in the psych ward for cheap is if you're on Medicaid. If you have enough, if you're like her and you have income, or if you're not on, if you don't have indigent status, they're gonna bill you through the butt for that stuff. And she knows that because she's gone to the psych ward before, so she can't act like she doesn't know that. So she doesn't have money for Ozempic, doesn't have a few $100 for Ozempic, doesn't have money to do co-pays or any of this stuff. But yet she could go get herself signed into the psych ward where it's like, what, $300 a night? $500 a night, $1,000. It's like something crazy. Maybe I think it's like a $500 copay or some crap. It's insane.
People who just have disorders, you know what I mean?
Couldn't get her Snickers on time. Delayed gratification disorder.
That's crazy, Mango Orange. I didn't know that.
Yeah, welcome in, Tucker. Thank you again for the kind words.
Thank you. Mean customers.
Tucker and friends. Exactly, fallen angel. Exactly. That's the other part. She literally told them that she was a danger to herself. I'm not going to use the word she used because of how YouTube is, but you can imagine what she said she felt like doing. So, of course, they said, well, then we can't let you leave because you said that you're going to do something dangerous if you do. So, yeah, like it doesn't. And then she says that they held her against her will, and they didn't strap her down or anything like that. They just held her for a few days, and then they let her out.
Yeah, YouTube be wildin'.
They medicated her.
So hopefully, if I pick back up and start being a little more consistent,
maybe on a little bit, but not
algorithm will be back in my favor.
She doesn't have an indigent status.
Tanezi, thank you so much for your super sticker. I appreciate you. You guys have been giving me a lot of love today. I really appreciate it. I mean,
you guys have been giving me a lot of love. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to all the lurkers, all the chatters, and anybody watching the replay. You're all very much appreciated. Anybody watching the replay, if you want to leave a comment, let me know what you think about Rosie's signing herself into the psych ward or signing herself into inpatient inpatient weight loss. Apparently, she has money for the psych ward, but not for the weight loss. Hey, I guess that's why she needs to go to the psych ward, because she's not making any sense, right?
In terms of lives, I think I'm back. I'm going purely on vibes. So,
well, the way it works is this. I mean, I'm not an expert. I mean, but from my understanding, if you're at poverty level, you're eligible for Medicaid. And if you're slightly above poverty level, you're eligible for subsidized insurance plans, which are basically free. I shouldn't say free, but they're basically paid for they're paid for by your other tax money. The tax money that comes out of your paycheck, the tax money that comes out of your sales taxes, the tax money that comes out of your gas, all your other tax monies, they discount your insurance. So you're basically paying for your own insurance, but it's coming out of your tax money, because you're paying taxes. Does that make sense? But that's kind of how I would describe it.
Yeah, I see. I understand.
It's kind of like you get back a percentage of your tax money.
Like that. And then I have been held, like, so
not
when
the
I
worst.
went, the most recent hospital stay that I did, they put me on the second floor,
God.
the second ward or whatever, where it's
smell it
like
from here?
those kinds of people. There's like people who are very much like, I don't know what the word is, like intense.
Yeah, Elise, from my understanding, it's like that. It's I think most states have something similar, where it's just the cost of people just having no coverage whatsoever was more expensive than just providing some type of state program. And again, the tax money is already there. We're already paying a lot of tax money, so they just kind of give it back to us as a subsidy on the insurance program.
Thank you so much, Tanezi.
But then again, the problem is this, though, is if you make a little bit over a certain amount, then you're going to have to pay through the butt for your insurance, because now you're not eligible for a cut. So it sounds like a good system, but it's got plenty of problems.
Appreciate you. It's not the customers. It's the problem. So my biggest gripe at my job, like the biggest thing that gives me the most stress, is that we're supposed to have floor support to help us, and there's just not nearly enough of them, and sometimes it can take up to 30 minutes on a call just because I'm waiting for assistance, and they have no escalation line.
It's okay.
There is no supervisor department.
Aliza, I'm not going to shame you for having to get some subsidized health care. I mean, I'm sure that, Kia, I look at it like this. Everybody pays eventually at some point is going to pay a pretty good amount of tax money into the system, whether it's they or their family or they're through inheritance or through sales taxes or through just your job or whatever. Everybody ends up paying in a bunch of tax at some point. And getting back a little bit of it when times are hard, I think is fair enough.
You have to hunt down a supervisor.
Yeah, right on.
That they call people back.
Rosie, I don't know.
And so there are people with
Rosie had a job when she left YouTube, but I don't think she still does because a few people asked her about it and she hasn't said anything. So I don't think she still has employment at this time.
Like crazy situations. Literally, the last time I was on the phones, a lady had waited. She started her trying to talk to people and getting assistance on what was it? Yeah, like March 31st, and it was May 5th or 2nd or whatever day. I don't know what day it is. Hey Sandra, you're not dreaming. So it's like a chronic problem. And since working there, we keep having system issues where people who are in like a very dire situation that to be resolved means that they have to pay a bill. And I'm being very vague here to protect myself. So it's a very like stressful, upsetting situation that someone can find themselves in if they're not paying their bills. And that situation can only be resolved by paying said fees to get said situation resolved. And then if you can't pay because the payment system's down, you are just stuck in said situation, and the only option we have is call us back. Sorry, like systems are just down again. And it's like,
so Rosie here is talking about her job. I don't know if she still has it or not, but she's talking about a situation which she did. Apparently she worked in customer help, helping people with their payment. And apparently the place she worked for did not have a very good payment system because if the system went down, she was not able to offer much help.
Like happening almost every week and sometimes multiple times a week. And then the next day another system breaks. Like we literally had a week where that happened. Like it was like one system went down, the next day different system went down, third day this other system had this other issue. And it's just like a constant.
That is a great point, Elizu. I think there's a big difference between people who need help and people who just burn through resources and couldn't care less. I think that's a very fair point. And I love this still picture I got of Rosie here. This is just a fantastic still. Anybody, screenshot this picture or come back to this show and screenshot it later. But that's a great still.
Constant barrage of bullshit. And then when you keep taking calls, you start noticing things.
All the above.
That make you look at this company and go, this should be criminal what you're doing to some of these people.
So Rosie, that's a great way. If you really want to, be employed, talk about how your last job were a bunch of criminals and they should be taken to court for the things that you saw on the job in less than a month.
And they have a monopoly in the area, so there's not really anything that can be done about it. And there's so little organization within like the within the company because there's such a high turnaround time because the supervisors suck. And well, my supervisor sucks. And honestly, she grew on me a little bit. And she's chilled out, I think now, especially that she's seen I've had consistently good stats. But, like, man, was she up. She's up all of her asses. And she micromanages, but then, like...
In fairness to Rosie, there are a lot of really terrible supervisors out there. And in my experience, the reason there are so many terrible supervisors is because people get promoted to supervisory positions, not because they're good supervisors. They get promoted to supervisory positions because they're good employees. Like if somebody comes to work every day on time and they have good production, better than their coworkers, they're going to get promoted to supervisor. They might not know anything about managing other people. They might not know anything about running an organization, but because they did the job well, they got promoted. They should be promoting people who are good at leadership and the people who do their job well should get a raise. But promoting them to a position that they're not qualified for because they were qualified for a different position is not a smart way to staff your business.
Misses on big things and doesn't do her job in certain ways, and it's just a fucking nightmare.
And I'll admit, I've certainly complained about stuff I've done at work before, and I shouldn't have. I should have just kept my mouth shut. So I'll just say that for anybody out there, if you ever think about complaining about stuff at work, even if you're right, this is the important thing to remember. Even if you're right, just don't say anything. Even if you're right, just don't say anything, because it ends up coming back to bite you more often than not, especially if you're right.
It's not debt collecting, no. I would never want to do debt collecting. God.
And if you do learn some dirty secrets about some place you work for, well, if they're really bad and they're bad enough where you're going to talk about it, maybe you shouldn't continue working there. Like, what does that say about you that you think they're criminal, but you're continuing to work there? Why? It's criminal. They should be prosecuted. Well, it's an okay job.
Yeah, the supervisor is
right. This is the dirt.
She, as a person, I like her a little bit more. I've gotten to know her a little bit. But she made a really, really bad first impression. And she's also just, sometimes, she still does shit that I side-eye, but I had a lot more of a visceral reaction towards her in the beginning, and I've kind of
That's another one, Eliza.
Yeah, micromanagers, whoo!
I've seen that too, Eliza. I've actually worked in places like that, where they've got like 3 supervisors for every 5 employees. It's like they've got like the jobs. It's like 40% supervisors, 60% employees. Like every supervisor has another supervisor. You got 5 people working in an office, and like then you've got like 6. Then there's 2 people supervising them, 2 more people supervising them, and then 1 guy supervising those 2. It's like you end up with 5 supervisors for 6 employees. Yeah, that is middle management destroys efficiency.
Gets me hot and mad. A month gone, it's still the same old crap. Maybe one day you'll learn to take your life seriously.
Well, I mean, I'll say it like this. I'm not saying you should never say anything, but if you are going to say something, make sure you say it to somebody who can do something about it. Don't just tell people, and like, I'm not talking to you, Elise. I'm talking about Rosie. And I'm saying though, but if somebody does feel the need to say something, say it to somebody who can make a difference. Don't just tell it to people who are just gonna spread rumors and do nothing.
Well, it was 2 months, but
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You're entitled to your own opinion.
If you're seeing criminal activity, report it.
She was a tight ass who didn't speak to me like I was a human being. She talked to me like she barked orders at me over chat without like any real conversation.
This is great. And this she makes this job sound so terrible. I bet the lady probably barked orders at me. I bet she probably was like, Rosie, can you please get this done? I know you're on your second lunch break, but could you just try to get it done before you leave today? I'd really appreciate that. She barked orders at me.
But the times that we've had brief conversations over voice, they've been better. Thank you. Thank you, Kaori.
All right, it looks like we got a group of people who want to see some of that glitter and lasers. I want to see some glitter and lasers too. I think we're going to let this run another 5-10 minutes because I enjoy hearing this dirt about Rosie's job. But I think after that, we're going to switch it up to glitter and lasers for a little bit. Bonus sandwich time. When Rosie gets a bonus at work, it's a bonus sandwich.
I'm thinking about ending the stream. We've been live for almost 2 hours.
Oh, perfect time. Well, hey, Rosie, perfect timing.
Thank you, Ramona. I took a break.
Well, you know what? I think that's a perfect time to switch it up. Because there's really not too...
Seriously, subpar.
We're about 20 minutes, 15 minutes behind. But I don't think there's much more going to come out of this.
Hey, subpar.
Let me pull up the glitter.
Thank you, subpar.
And we're going to run the stream a little bit later tonight.
I don't know what to do right now. I'm just I kind of want to lie down. And, I know that. And then in a live, I want to cut my hair, like I said.
Very cathartic.
My thoughts on her that I don't want to talk about her. I'm done with all that. I'll actually briefly touch on that again real quick, just in case for the people who missed it earlier, because I did briefly touch on this. I don't want to talk about Girl World anymore. I don't want to be involved in it. I don't want my opinions inputted in it. I don't want to feed into the drama of it all. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm sorry.
Well, Rosie, if you don't want to be a part of it, then I'm going to oblige you, and I'm not going to make you be a part of this terrible lol culture. I want to force you to be a part of this. And I'll make you a deal, Rosie. If you don't make any feeder bait content, I won't cover you. Because, frankly, if you don't make any feeder bait content, I don't really think that it applies that much to the topics I do. But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, let's switch it up to Glitter and Lazers, because like she says, we need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk. What do we need to talk about? Plastic surgery. Failures. Did Glitter admit it was a failure? Well, not in her own words, but I think she did. Oh crap, let me share the screen again. Hold on a second. Share the screen. Because we need to talk. Did I drop out? Oh, hold on a second. Did I cut? Am I back in? All right. Sorry, folks. Let me put the... Oh, we're good. We're back? Okay, good. Good. All right, 1 second here. A lot. That was a lot.
I have been waiting an entire year to like...
Oh, yes. So let me also show my the screen here. For anybody who's not aware, this here is the before and after of Glitter and Lazers. If you look at the upper right, that's the first picture, first before. This one here is the second. This is the third. This is the fourth at the bottom. This is the results of Glitter and Lazers plastic surgery. I've been covering this for a while. I think that Anna has wasted her time and harmed herself for no reason. There's no benefit to her appearance or her health as far as anybody can tell. She claims to be in less pain now, but she's acknowledged that in the past, she's readily lied about how she feels in order to portray an image that she feels she should as an influencer. She doesn't want to perpetrate the stereotypes of being a, quote, fat, what'd you say, a fat woman on the internet? She doesn't want to perpetrate those stereotypes. So she doesn't acknowledge her reality. She thinks that she can trick us all by pretending everything is fine and that her life is so amazing. And let me show you what I'm talking about, actually. I actually have a video of this, but let me let this run first, and then I'll get that video. I'm sorry, I'm doing this out of order.
Live. And I've had to live this half-life for like 12 months. And so now I get to just go be me, but like better.
This journey was incredibly complex and difficult. While we've done our best to capture it, some parts are impossible to fully show or explain. It's liposuction. It's not impossible to explain. I mean, no, it's not impossible to explain.
Did you miss me?
Because I'm back.
I know that I have a lot to fill
Scared
you
me.
guys in on, and I do really want to explain why I took some time away. But first, I feel like I need to catch you up on everything that's kind of happened since my last
I think
video. So
Welcome
right
in,
now,
Tashani.
I'm actually
Welcome in. Hope you're having a good night, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think it has been dipping into the candy from the doctor's office.
leaving for my next surgery tomorrow, which is kind of wild to think about. I can't believe it's
Only
tomorrow.
one you can really
but,
see.
I need to pack because I, of course, have not, because that's just who I am. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I'll see you at the airport.
You could rearrange them like doing a card trick where they mix up all the cards and then We could do a card trick with Anna where we take all the pictures, we mix them up, and then we deal them out. And we're like, which one of these was first? Which one of these? You wouldn't be able to tell.
So obviously I already made a bunch of videos about surgery number 1, which you can watch.
And as far
here.
as her arms go, we've never actually seen her entire arms since the surgery. We've never actually seen the backs of her arms. And I'm not saying, I mean, I understand there's going to be some scarring, but she said that she had 35 spitting stitches on her arms, and all the stitches were, she called them spitting stitches. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that sounds like it would leave marks. And we've never actually seen her arms without these tights on. She wears these sleeves always. So what do her arms actually look like without the sleeves on now? I'd be interested to see that.
There's a link up, but the whole objective of that surgery was to clear out my pelvic girdle and the outside of my thighs. And the reason they did that in surgery 1 is because it was
Welcome in, Empress Shavanid. You're just in time.
The most congested area, and it was the place.
Let me give a little intro. We were watching Rosie. She made her comeback tonight. We were watching her live for the first hour, and now we're finally getting to Glitter and Lasers, giving her big surgery update. She's doing an entire video describing all of that. So strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And I'm not talking about sliding down Glitter's thighs.
I was experiencing the most pain. One thing I definitely learned that I didn't anticipate was that it's a lot more emotional of a journey than I thought. I thought I would just bounce back and I would just be my old self right after surgery.
I don't want to keep interrupting, but this is too important for me not to address. Shelly, I even said in one of my old videos that that it was only a matter of time till she had complications. Sure enough, she got them. And what causes complications? She got the skin removal on her arms. Her arms kept growing back. They filled back up. That's the problem. She got liposuction on her arms, and then they cut off all the extra skin. So that way, when she gained the weight back, there was nowhere for it to go, and the arms, the stitches split. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Surgery, but your hormones are like all over the place, and it's tough. And I don't like resting. It's just not something I like to do, and that was very mentally challenging for me to be in a place where I had to literally lay low. Like I already said, you guys have a lot more information about surgery 1 because I made those videos, and so I don't really have much more to add than what I've already put out there. I do need to kind of update you guys on surgeries 2 and 3, but I also need to catch this flight, so I'm gonna go, and when we get to Utah, I'll fill you guys in about those surgeries.
I just want to really quickly show one other video since we're running the show a little bit long tonight. I have a quick, like 2-minute video I want to show that Anna just posted. Let me show this one as well.
Comments about this, and I feel like I just need to like address it because maybe I haven't been clear enough about it previously. But there's been a lot of commentary on like, oh, you did all this traveling, you did a lot of this fitness stuff. I don't understand why you needed to get the surgery. This seems to contradict, the life you were living. And to be entirely candid, it kind of does. And that's because I hid my pain a lot because I was embarrassed.
She hid her pain because she was embarrassed. This is a woman who's not afraid to cry at the drop of a hat, a fake cry, who does nothing but cry and whine and talk about how everything hurts and how tough everything is. But apparently she was too embarrassed to admit she had a problem. What happened to this patented Glitter and Lasers vulnerability?
Because I felt like it, played into some perceptions of plus size people of what we are and are not capable of.
So because the truth made you look bad, you decided to change the truth. You decided to lie.
I felt bad because I felt that way. I had a lot of personal shame and blame that I had to get over. And honestly, I didn't even fully understand how much unnecessary pain I was living with until literally the last couple weeks. So I'm frustrated I didn't do the surgeries earlier, and hindsight is 20/20, but it is what it is.
One more 1-minute video also. I know I showed this one last week, but it's only 1 minute long. So this is Glitter basically telling us all, we can go to hell. Whoops, hold on a second.
And I was seeing an obesity specialist that was familiar. And to be super transparent, and I feel like I've said this before, but I'll say it again. When I first started down the road of surgery, it was really because I had lost weight and then I had just stopped losing weight. And I was seeing an obesity specialist that was familiar with lipid.
After that, she just stopped losing weight for no medical reason that would explain it. She was losing weight, dieting, exercising, doing 5K runs regularly, eating healthy. Well, she never actually said she was eating healthy, to be fair. but that's the presumption, right? Doing everything she can to be healthy, like she says, but it just wasn't working.
Lipidema, and she believed that potentially the reason I had stopped losing weight was because of my lipidema. And so she suggested I go see a specialist. The specialist, was Dr. Amron, and he agreed that also might be the case. So it was decided by multiple doctors working together that this was the best next step. I think going through that journey, I didn't realize all the other ways lipedema affected me because I had learned to cope and deal with them. So as they started to go away, I began to realize the impact it had on me.
Hold on a
It's
second.
something I couldn't have realized before.
The audio just got weird.
Other ways lipedema affected me because I had learned to cope and deal with them. So as they started to go away, I began to realize the impact it had on my life. And it's just something I couldn't have realized before.
Okay, so basically I just wanted to really see how she was saying that she lied about how she actually felt, but she did it for a good reason. She did it because she had to prevent people from thinking of stereotypes. She had to stop stereotypes of fat people. And if that meant lying about how she actually felt and about who she actually was, it was worth it. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the honest Glitter and Lazers. She's decided now to be honest again. And in this video, she's not going to be lying. Why? Who knows? Apparently, but she said she's going to be honest, so let's believe her. Right? All right. Whoops.
To literally lay low. Like I already said, you guys have a lot more information about surgery 1 because I made those videos, and so I don't really have much more to add than what I've already put out there. I do need to kind of update you guys on surgeries 2 and 3, but I also need to catch this flight, so I'm gonna go, and when we get to Utah, I'll fill you guys in about those surgeries.
Sorry, I keep rebalancing the volume, folks. I'm just trying to get it set. I wish I had remembered to do that at the beginning of the video.
Next stop, Utah.
And Anna likes to say that she couldn't do her makeup and she couldn't wash her face because her arms were in too much pain from all the surgery. But I don't believe that. Her skin is always bad. It's not because her arms were too painful to wash her face. Agreed. Oh, the music is going to get me flagged. I got to mute it for a second.
Our hotel, and as you can tell, it is almost nighttime. Surgery
Darn
2
right.
was an interesting one. It was to take care of my inner thigh, and I decided, and in hindsight,
Yes, Nirvana.
stupidly decided.
It's for
to go alone.
sponsorships, money.
I'm just waiting and shuffling around the room. Whoa. It's weird to not have someone to talk to. Last times I did this, I had someone with me, so I had someone to talk to. I think that's so far.
I want to actually address this. This is a great point. Some people said that the doctor really did her dirty and butchered her for no benefit. And you could make that argument. That's a fair argument to make. But I think you could also make the argument that Anna ripped off the doctor because she got this surgery for free in exchange for advertising. They can't use any of the advertising featuring this woman. She's given them nothing to work with. I have a strong feeling that prior to the surgeries, they discussed the aftercare. They probably said to her, I'd be willing to bet money they said this, that Anna, you have to not regain all of the weight immediately after the surgery in order to best see the results. So when we do the before and after pictures, we're going to want to make sure the results are visible. I've got a feeling that's what they asked. And when she didn't do that, I've got a feeling that probably broke the deal in some way.
The only thing that bothers me is that there's just no one to talk to while you wait. There's no one to talk to except you, internet.
And that's why there really wasn't a ton of content around it, because I was on my own and I was very overwhelmed and it was not fun. And if there's one
Oh, that's why she didn't have a lot of content, because she didn't have John with her to record everything, huh? That's a pretty weak excuse.
thing I learned from surgery number 2, don't go it alone. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to be superhero. You are there to heal. And
Wow, that's skin.
I have a little bit of a superwoman complex. I can admit that. Like, I
She's been
want to
cut
feel
a
like
lot
I
at
can
this
do
point.
anything, and this I could not do alone.
Okay.
And I'm not somebody who opposes plastic surgery on principle. I think plastic surgery can be beneficial. But don't get plastic surgery just to get it. Let me rephrase this. Plastic surgery can be beneficial for some people at some times, but Anna was not a good candidate. Just going to leave it at that.
Straight up, I am about a couple hours post-surgery now,
Skin.
and I hurt. So I have a feeling that this
Right?
recovery period is
He was gonna
actually
rip her
not
off. She got
going to
it.
go as smooth
Exactly.
as the previous one. I don't think it's going to be unbearable. I don't think it's going to be something I can't deal with. But I'm already realizing that like, every surgery is going to be different.
The protein bars are the weight gain bars. That's the thing. Anna has been giving them to herself. She's been trolling herself. It's like the other day she said she needs a right to protect herself. Well, Anna, why won't you protect yourself from you? Who's going to protect you from you? Because none of your critics or detractors want to harm you anywhere near anything like you've harmed yourself. Nobody wants to see you like this. At least I don't think anybody. I don't want to see Anna in an early grave. I don't want to see her torturing herself with all these unnecessary surgeries for nothing. I don't like her, but I don't, wish her pain or anything like that.
In terms of pain, and every surgery is going to be different in terms of who you are. So
Yep.
for me, I just happen to have a lot of fibrosis on the back of my legs, and we knew that from when we did parts of my knee
Absolutely,
on the outer
Jamie.
side. But I was not
Oh.
prepared for how
You folks, I got to make you aware that anybody who's not aware of the Glitter and Lazers lore, John is Glitter's companion, you could say, her filmer, her editor, and her confidant, as well as her travel companion. Like I said, keeps her company, keeps her from getting bored, records all of her videos, edits them together, and the rest is up to your imagination.
I feel right now, because I had such a great first experience that I thought it was like, I'm just going to be
I do not envy him.
fine. I honestly think I will feel better standing and walking than I do laying, because laying forces me to put pressure on the places where
Yeah,
the
that's-
fibrosis was removed.
I feel like I need to talk about this in every video,
That's-
but you
that's,
will fart and burp a lot. Like,
Oh, this part here is great. But yeah, I keep pausing the darn video, but your comments are just so good. Yeah, that's Shelly. I didn't even think about it like that, but that really is. Because how much damage has she done to herself based on that lie? That lie has led to all of this plastic surgery that's unnecessary. And ultimately, it could lead to a lot more serious complications in the future. And you could really trace it all to that one lie. That one lie is responsible for a lot of harm. Carpentry tax, is that what's holding her skin together? I think so too, Capricorn. I forget that, but I think you're right. I think she does pick at her face, because no way is that just not washing. That's not, I mean, there's acne and dirty skin, and then there's what Anna's got going on. That probably is something else. And I don't want to make fun of her for having a nervous condition, so I'm not going to do that. But I will point out, she talks all the time about how great her life is and how wonderful everything is. People who are really happy tend to not have picking at their face problems.
a lot, and you will feel gross. It is normal. And I think there's a certain like acceptance that happens after like the third day of all out farting for your life, where you're just like, this is me now, I'm a fart factory, and then it'll stop. So I am today a fart factory. I'm owning that truth.
I bet Dr. Amron is so excited with hiring this woman as a spokesperson. Like when like that kind of content right there, that's the kind of stuff that you hire a professional influencer to get. Because if you just have a regular patient, they're going to be too embarrassed to talk about how they constantly fart and burp as a result of your surgery. But a pro influencer like Anna is not afraid to share those kind of details that will really draw the customers to your business.
One of the things that was really hard post the second surgery as well is that I was not fully recovered from my first surgery. It was
Well, at least something about her is clean. Right? Like that, like she looks like she bathed in cornstarch and water.
2 surgeries really back to back, coming out of recovery and then going immediately into
She's
another
bolting,
surgery. And when I say
absolutely.
recovery, I mean like the very
that's who
initial
John
stages
is.
of recovery. And this is something that I realize people do not understand.
If you actually look at if you actually look at like the videotape of a doctor performing liposuction, it is definitely surgery. It is very it is like they are chopping you up. They don't use a scalpel. They use what's called a cannula, C-A-N-U-L-A, I believe it's spelled. It's like a sharp. It's a tube with a sharp end, like a needle point on the end, and they jab your fat with that, and they kind of cut it. They kind of tear it up into chunks and then suck it out through the cannula. So yeah, it's definitely surgery, and it can be lead to some serious complications as well. So yeah, and I agree with that, Empress. Definitely, if she got weight loss surgery first, there's a possibility the liposuction might have been a good choice in the long run.
Expect like the results to be immediate, and I think that's because people are very familiar with like weight loss surgery, where you do see results very quickly. Like people begin to lose weight, and they're like, oh, her body's changed. That is not how these surgeries work. The recovery period for these is up to like 18 months to 2 years.
That's a good point.
That's all I really have to say about that.
Okay, that right there. Did you hear that? I got so caught up in the comments. Want to talk about spouting medical misinformation? Can anybody anywhere find anything to corroborate any of what she says here about this recovery time of 2 years for liposuction? Let's hear this again.
Immediate. And I think that's because people are understand. They expect like the results to be immediate. And I think that's because people are very familiar with like weight loss surgery.
Yeah, weight loss surgery, when the results are immediate, because as soon as they remove your stomach, you immediately lose 300 pounds like the next day. Like it just happens like that. It's immediate. This is outright medical misinformation. This is at the very least ignorance of the first order, or this is outright misinformation. Is she really this mistaken? Did her doctor tell her this? Is there any doctor who can corroborate this? Let her keep going.
Where you do see results very quickly.
Quick results from weight loss surgery, she says.
People begin to lose weight, and they're like, oh, her body's changed. That is not how these surgeries work.
That's not how liposuction works. Liposuction is not, you do not see results of liposuction quickly. Then how come we saw the results on your arms immediately after surgery, Anna? If the results of liposuction take 2 years to see, how come you were posting about how your arms already gave you results? How come you were posting the day after surgery about already feeling better and looking better? But now you're telling us it's going to take 18 months to 2 years to see the results? But I thought you said you already got the results. Like, what are you talking about?
The recovery period for these is up to like 18 months to 2 years. So that's all I really have to
I looked it up. It said the recovery period is a matter of weeks, up to 6 months.
say about that. I am tired.
All right, okay, then I'll take it back. That is pretty quick results. That is pretty quick results. But to be fair, liposuction should be pretty quick too. Liposuction should be quick too. And she even saw it quickly. So yes, you can lose weight quickly with weight loss surgery, but it still took a few months. That's quick, but that's not like overnight, right? Like that's not as quick as she's saying. She's saying weeks. She's not saying 5 months, in fairness. But
I'm also
I do
hungry,
agree with
so
your
we're gonna
point.
go get some dinner. And the next time I will see you guys will actually be tomorrow morning when we are taking pre-op photos, because it's at 9:30, which means I gotta get up.
That's what I think too. I think she believes that she can go and secretly lose weight over the next 2 years and then claim that it's somehow from this initial surgery.
A terrible hour. Pray for me. I am so tired. Good morning, internet. I am here at the Roxbury Institute now. We're gonna do my pre-op photos, get ready for surgery tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell you guys all about surgery number 3. With that, let's get going, because I'm actually late.
I told you we would liven it up shortly.
Well, Glitter and Lazers herself said the few weeks recovery time. That's what's so shocking to me. She still has videos up that talk about a matter of weeks to recover. 6 months at the most, she said. And now it's 18 months to 2 years? This just feels very disingenuous to me. And maybe I got a little bit too excited talking about the time periods. To be fair, it's hard to measure some things. But liposuction is supposed to provide fast results. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. He was like, it's quiet around here.
Hello.
He was like, it's quiet in here.
Not for long, buddy. I got a big mouth and a big heart.
You know what? You might think that, but it actually is all on the side. Like the side boob, like the area, the stuff under her armpit grew. The fat under her armpit grew. The actual chest did not really do much growth. At least I don't think it did. I mean, I haven't seen her in a bikini in a while, but I have a feeling there was not much actual growth anywhere she wanted it.
I really don't know what the hell I was thinking,
Look at it, like it got very full under her arm. Yeah.
changing up the location of my final surgery. LA is at this point very familiar to me. I know how everything works. I know the whole staff. I know the procedures. Even though technically those things are the same in a different location.
I do agree. I'll agree with that. I think this outfit doesn't, this outfit is flattering for her at least.
Completely brand new. So I had a weird amount of anxiety. It still
This
feels
poor girl on the left, she is going to see some sights that she is never going to be able to forget.
completely brand new. So I had a weird amount of anxiety going into this surgery because it just
Is that where she keeps her anxiety? In her fupa?
I had a weird amount of anxiety
Right there. That's where the anxiety was. Right here. And the doctor's going to suck that out today.
going into this surgery because it just wasn't familiar. So
This is your 4th liposuction surgery. How unfamiliar can you still be with this procedure?
every time before we actually have surgery, we take what's called pre-op photos. And this allows us to compare pre and post surgery. And it's highly controlled. So like your body's in the same positioning. I wear the same exact underwear set every single time. And it just allows you to have a really fair comparison. We talk a lot about online about
She does wear the same underwear set every time. You could tell as soon as you walk in the room.
how comparisons aren't always genuine. People are standing in different ways, wearing different clothing, things are pulled up higher or lower. This allows a real, true, honest comparison before and after. And
This allows a true, honest before and after comparison. So in other words, these pictures here that show absolutely no changes, this is the before and after honest comparison. This is really like, we could really see what she looks like. We could see that this like I said earlier, you could play a card game with these and shift them up and stack them up in any order and then guess which came first.
really focused on making sure I always have the same underwear set. I always have the same poses. I'm always smiling in my photos. I don't want you to think that I'm like sad at the beginning and happy at the end, because that's bullshit too.
I'm here for it, Nirvana.
So I like that I have this.
Nirvana, I got to make it fun. That's what I have to do. I sometimes get a little bit frustrated, but the best way to let that frustration out is having a laugh. That's what I say.
To be able to show like the results in a real, like almost scientific way. This is the last time I will take these photos before surgery, though I probably will come back to probably LA to take a final round of photos in about a year. We're doing a second round of photos like this just because I am having torso surgery.
like the way the black disappears into the background, this picture is going to make it look like she's just like floating body parts.
And we want to be able to specifically see the torso, and the underrib does kind of hide that. So we'll have different photos for just this surgery.
That's it for the pre-op.
And let me just remind everybody who thinks like this is after 3 surgeries already. And I'm not going to say, you know, I'm not going to be rude or insulting. I'm just going to say that if I got 3 plastic surgeries, 3 liposuction procedures, I'd want to have some visible results.
Those for just this surgery.
That's it for the pre-op for this last surgery. Just so excited to be done.
Melted candle. That's what I'm thinking.
I have no regrets about doing it, but I am
no regrets.
ready.
She says no regrets. Count the number of times she says no regrets tonight. Count the number of times. That's, I think, the first one. But I think she probably said it more than that already.
I'm ready to close this chapter and get to live.
Right across from the surgical center is this like farm. I don't know what this is, but there's cows and there's sheep. There's a lot of people. And I figured we'll just find a place here because it's so pretty to sit down and chat. And I can, you know, finish up.
I believe he said 5 or 6 liters. And I know that they pump in a lot of fluid, so you can't really get an exact measurement. But I believe they said like 10 pounds of fat each time. So, something like that. It was probably like 10 pounds of fat in each one, I would say. Maybe more.
You know, and all the things that I need to update you on, but man, points for having surgery in Utah is this.
I'm glad you enjoyed it about it. Somebody's got to make these girls interesting.
So in my 3rd surgery, I had my calves and my arms done.
They do weigh it, but because there's a lot of, the way they do the liposuction is they pump fluid in and then they suck out the fat combined with the fluid. So they end up with 6 liters of material removed, but how many liters of fluid did they add in? So you can't really say for sure what percentage of that material is fat versus the fluid. So it's not an exact science, but they said they removed over 20 pounds of material in the first 2 surgeries. So I would assume about 10 pounds per surgery. But again, we don't know the precise percentages.
Which included a brachioplasty. And what this meant is simultaneously my legs and my arms were at a very incapacitated state, especially my arms. I can actually move my arms a lot more than I thought I would be able to. I can go up to 90 degrees. And honestly, it's less painful than it was before surgery. So I love it. Also feels real weird.
I mean, to give her back definition, all I can think of is no, there's nothing they can do at this point. There just isn't. I'm trying to think of a funny joke, but no, there just isn't. And she's doing her silly dance, looking really high, looking really loaded. And I just want to make my point again. I don't care if somebody needs medication. I'm not trying to give her a hard time over that. But when she talks about how she's not feeling any pain, I don't think it's fair for her to talk about how she has no pain if she's not going to acknowledge that she's using pain medication. I think that's an important detail if you're going to discuss your pain.
You're worried about lifting or doing anything, so you really just can't do much with your arms. And then your legs are kind of messed up. So like, for example, getting up, when your legs are weak, you use your arms, right? But I couldn't do that. So there are times where I literally had to basically be helped getting in and out of bed, which I did not love. Because again, if you haven't catch the theme of the video, I'm not good at taking help from other people. And I think physically that's why it was
not good at taking help, but she's great at taking money. Very good at taking money from other people.
So challenging for me is I did have to really step back in surgery 3 and rely on other people.
I'm a little easy, so
yes, Alizu. She is like Clayface, because remember Clayface also ended up that way through vanity. Clayface was using some kind of chemical to change his appearance, and he ended up screwing up his appearance with it. So it's a powerful metaphor.
Wheelchair. Wee. 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 Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a real. Okay.
Sense of wonder. That's kind of what they did. That's what the doctor was theoretically, I think, what he was planning to do long term. They started out with a liposuction, a local suck in her thighs, and then I guess they were gonna then tighten up the skin. But then she gained back all the weight. So the skin was tight again, or like, well, tight. Well, it was too tight to tighten it up, if that makes sense. Like they were supposed to, from my understanding initially, and they were never too clear, but they gave the impression that initially she was going to get liposuction in stage 1, and then they were going to tighten up the skin in stage 2. But she never got to stage 2 because she gained back all the weight they took out with the liposuction.
Don't wait for her to get the car in this wheelchair.
So we're back to rolling bandages. We've been kind of intermittently filming this trip.
Agriculture exemption? Is that why they gave the surgery to Anna? They get like an exemption for performing on ruminants?
Mostly because it's hard. My hands are tired and I'm actually feeling really good today. So this is like kind of the first day. So I haven't been able to self-film, which is what I usually do. I actually am kind of proud that I can wrap the bandages today because I don't think I could have done this before today.
Good for you, Empress. Those drugs are no joke.
I wasn't in pain, and that was like the hardest part about it, is like every day I knew I couldn't do these things.
I wasn't in pain. But was that because you weren't in pain, or was that because you were on a bunch of pills? And I think that's an important detail.
But I wasn't getting signals from my body that I was in pain and needed to stop doing them. I just knew to follow my protocols. I couldn't do them. So like, you can't raise your arm above 90 degrees. You can't lift more than would be a gallon of water. So like things like putting on your compression where you use a lot of force to pull them on.
Talking about all our exercise.
I had to stand there while somebody else pulled my pants up. And that is, it's a way of being humbled that I never knew I would experience. I did actually have some additional complications, which then extended those.
That's a good point there. And I'm not going to say that I don't want to criticize Dr. Amron because he might do good surgery, and Anna just ate it all away. To be fair, in fairness to him, he might have just chosen the worst candidate for his surgery. He might do really good surgery, but we would never know because she could have just eaten it all away. He might have done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really fair. If he could have made Anna look good, he could have made anybody look good. So I'll concede that. It's starting with a very poor canvas. So I don't want to necessarily blame the doctors entirely. And I think the term is gracelessly. That would be the probably. I think that would be the correct term.
Those physical limits from the usual.
But I like
4
ungraceful.
weeks.
But ungracefully, I like ungraceful. I think that's a good word.
To like almost 8 weeks. So double the time that most people experience. But you know what? We're going to talk about that more because I think at this point it kind of crosses over to how it affected me emotionally. And I think that's a whole other topic.
Very good point.
That I want to address somewhere a little less public.
And
so we're just about.
That right there, Sabin Nation, is a big part of why I have a lot of dislike for Anna. I've really developed a dislike for Anna over time. And that's why. Because she has no problem exploiting her viewership, selling them bad information, selling them lies to make money off of them. And I think that's shameful and disgusting. As much as I don't like Foodie, I don't like Amber. I don't like most of these girl world lolcows. Anna is the worst when it comes to exploiting her audience financially, in my opinion. And also giving them bad medical information. Amber gives bad medical information, but I don't think anybody tries to follow it. Glitter says, copy me, be like me, tell your insurance company this this is what you should tell your doctor. She really does encourage people to follow her bad lead.
To go to the operating room and start the procedure. I had all these things planned. I was going to film for TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. And you know what? I'm not doing them because I'm nervous and I just want to have the surgery. I just want to have this.
She's not doing this TikToks and Instagram because she's nervous and she just wants to have the surgery. I think she's not doing them because her contract with Amron was canceled. I think Amron said, Anna, this isn't working. It's up to you. If you want to do the final surgery, you're going to have to pay for it yourself. We're no longer interested in your services. I think that's what happened. And that's why she's not making all the videos. Because she's paying for this final surgery out of pocket. Because she broke the terms of their agreement. And she's like, well, if I have to pay for this final surgery, I'm not going to make you free videos. I'm just making one video for my channel and that's it.
Surgery, and I want it to be successful. And that is where I want to
Because notice how she didn't actually have Dr. Amron on camera this time. She didn't really have him say anything. She just showed him from the back, just drawing a few lines.
energy right now. So yeah, I kind of threw all of my plans out the wall, which is very unlike me, but you know what? It feels good to just put my needs first and focus on, you know, this whole long process. It's going to be about
It would hurt
6
less.
hours of surgery. So this is not a short, simple thing. It is going
6 hours of surgery. If she spent 6 hours exercising, she would have got better results. I'm serious. And I'm not saying that 6 hours of exercise are going to do much of anything, but they'll do just as little as that surgery would.
to be intense, but they're hoping that I will have pain reduction immediately. As you could see when they were doing the markings on my arms and stuff, I am having a lot of shoulder and elbow pain, and just holding my arms up is quite difficult for me right now. So
Yep.
these things will allow me to do things that I used to love a lot that now are kind of hard, like my makeup and my hair.
I think so.
Those are sometimes challenging things for me right now. So I think it's going to open up a world.
She says she can't do her makeup and her hair. Those are challenging things for her right now. What is challenging about them right for you right now? I mean, they've always been challenging for you, clearly. But is she implying that they're more challenging now? Because you look as bad as you always do. You don't look any worse than normal. Like, are you trying to suggest that you look worse now? You've always had horrible skin and hair.
Of possibility of what I feel comfortable doing.
This is probably the hardest part of the surgical process to talk about, because it's like physical pain.
I think he's done with it.
It's easy to explain and easy for people to understand, but emotional pain is really challenging to describe. And it's all relative, right? Everybody feels things differently. And I guess that's true for physical pain too, but I think people comprehend it better. My third surgery was really hard because I had a complication.
What was that, Anna? Why was it hard?
My third surgery was really hard because I had a complication.
Really? Does anybody say, did any reactors, does anybody remember any reactors saying that it was only a matter of time till Anna had complications? Were there any reactors who said that? Were there any reactors named Dr. Phil who said that in multiple times, that it was only a matter of time until she had complications because she was far too heavy? And that if she didn't get complications in the first couple surgeries, eventually she would get them if she continued to have surgeries? Was there yeah, there was. There was a reactor named Dr. Phil who said that. It was me. I said that. And I don't usually brag like that, but yeah, Anna, I told you so. I called that one. Who didn't think she was going to have complications? In fairness, I didn't exactly predict the Cubs winning the series. Although I think that did happen.
I had what's called spitting stitches. Now, it is normal to have a couple of those, but I ended up spitting.
Now, would that be something that could be caused by gaining a bunch of weight rapidly after surgery? Is it possible that that could cause that? Anybody who's familiar with surgery who might know if gaining weight rapidly could cause stitches to split?
Every single stitch of a certain type, which ended up creating about 35 different wounds on my arms, which required me to do a lot of wound care and to stop a lot of my activity to like the bare minimum, keeping my arms elevated and literally just not moving them to try to let those wounds heal. It's also why I started hyperbaric therapy, and it was rough, and I took that on myself. I thought it was my fault. I thought I was a bad patient.
But you were. It is well, you could argue it's the doctor's fault because he shouldn't have done surgery on you at this weight. So if you want to say it's his fault for taking you as a patient, I couldn't say that's wrong. But it really kind of is your fault, because that's not something that should happen to most people. And if you had done the aftercare, it probably wouldn't have happened to you.
I thought I was a failure. My doctor always said to me through the surgical process, like, you can't win surgery. And even though he said that every single time we talked, I couldn't believe it in that instant. I blamed myself a lot. It's been really hard, and I'm not going to sit here and cry because I feel like emotionally I've moved past that. But there was about 2 months where I was probably the most depressed I've ever been, because I couldn't do anything that I normally did.
You couldn't do anything you normally did. Like what? Like you couldn't lie about walking three kilometers? You couldn't lie about eating healthy? You couldn't lie about how your clothes fit. No, actually, no, you could lie about, you could tell the truth how they now fit over your arms, but then you could lie about how they fit everywhere else. What were the things that you couldn't do, Glitter? As far as I could tell, you still made all your usual BS videos to milk your zombie moron audience.
I couldn't even like get a plate from a counter, right?
And by the way, anybody, if you do watch Glitter and you like her, I'm not trying to be rude. I just feel like she takes advantage of her audience. I think a lot of them maybe aren't the smartest. I think a lot of people used to watch her and they've since learned, but I think the people who still watch her at this point and who still believe her at this point, I think those people are probably not too bright.
Physicality was so limited, and now it was limited for an even longer time than I had mentally prepared myself for. On top of that, just like I talked about in my previous surgeries, there were a lot of hormonal changes, and it just compounded to a place that I wasn't in a great space. A lot of people have been asking me, like, why are you not on YouTube? Like, why did you take a break? Why are you taking so long to come back? Are you coming back? When are we going to see you again? And I made the decision after that second surgery, when I kind of had that emotional moment, to pull back, because I needed to just make sure that I could take care of myself. I love making content. I love sharing my story. I love connecting with you all. And
she loves making her content and sharing her story so much that she turns off comments on every video. She loves connecting with us. That's why comments are always off. Except for this last video, when if you notice, they're not turned off, but they are held for approval. If you put a comment on her video, it's not going to show up. She has to manually approve every comment that appears on the video. And if anybody isn't sure about that, go to her video, look at the comments, scroll down to the lowest rated comment. It's a bunch of hearts. There's not a single critique. There's not a single disagreement. There is not a single person who even questions her. Not a single comment from anybody. That should tell you what you need to know.
you know, educating on lipidema. But my first priority was my health. And my health was just not in the place that I could do that. Mentally, I was not in the right headspace. And I was incredibly grateful that when I went through this huge, massive emotional struggle around surgery 3, that I didn't have that extra burden. I have not logged in or looked at YouTube.
Yes, please. If you're enjoying the show, please.
Probably 5 months. And I probably won't look at YouTube.
Well, you won't look at YouTube. Then how do you know that it's a toxic place if you haven't looked at it?
Mostly because I don't think it's a really great place for me.
But how do you know that if you haven't logged in 5 months?
I think the hardest thing about being such a public figure, going through something as, you know, challenging this as this in like a bigger body, is that people have a lot of opinions about it, and they honestly research your life in a way that I just never anticipated. I don't honestly think I'm that.
I love that. They've researched my life in a way I didn't anticipate. Is that an admission that you've been caught out lying, that you've been caught out for BSing and misleading your audience? And I love this line here where she says, I just don't think I'm that interesting. Listen to this.
Honestly, research your life in a way that I just never anticipated. I don't honestly think I'm that important or that interesting to have merited the content that came out of this journey.
The Glitter says that she is just not that interesting. She's a professional lifestyle influencer. She posts monetized videos to social media daily about every mundane aspect of her banal life. Be sure to like and subscribe. But people who actually read her posts are all weird losers. Stop noticing stuff. This woman cannot make her mind up. Well, actually, she can make her mind up. She doesn't want to be accountable for anything. And I can understand the inclination. But then how does she get the chutzpah? That's a good word I should use once in a while. How does she get the chutzpah to talk about being vulnerable and being honest and open when everything is clearly just a play and a lie?
From other people, it was something I did not emotionally
she's 6.
Mentally plan for in any way, because I just didn't think I was that important. I know who I am. I know what I stand for.
You're awesome, Saban.
And if people want to question that or recast that narrative, that doesn't change who I am.
That's why I make so much money.
I'm here for the people that...
The YouTube's a bad place for me. That's why I have 2 million subscribers. You have 2 million subscribers. Like a large percentage of YouTube is your audience. If you were to go by subscriber count, your audience is like a big chunk of this site. So it doesn't make, yeah, like you're basically talking out of both sides of your liposuction scars.
That need to learn about these surgeries, that need to be educated about these illnesses, who also need help, who don't know where to go, don't know where to start, don't know what it looks like. That's what I'm here for. And if anybody has an issue with that, then that's them. I think what I hate most about this whole situation.
If anybody has an issue with you misleading your audience and taking advantage of them, that's on them. No, that should be on you, Anna, but you have no conscience. So you don't care if any of your audience is harmed by your action or inaction. It's sad that it takes your critics to ask you to accept some accountability to your audience, because we all know that otherwise, well, we all know that you never will, even despite your critics asking you to. But I think that's fair to ask. Some level of accountability to the people who pay your bills.
It's not so much that people have said stuff about me, because I think that just happens being a creator, but I think it's been seen.
She could go to the South Pole and dance like a penguin. You know, Happy Feet. Remember that movie? To be fair, she's more of a leopard seal, elephant seal.
My fans
Walrus.
get so angry for me.
That's what she is. She's a walrus.
Yeah, I just want you guys to know that I'm okay, and I appreciate you, and I am so grateful for all you've done to like stand up for me, to show your support for me, to check in with me. Like, I know I'm not the best at sometimes talking about that, because sometimes I feel weird. It's weird. I didn't expect to be here in this position, and sometimes I'm still figuring out how to communicate that in a way that feels authentic and like. And
she's trying to communicate that in a way that feels authentic. I love how she says that. Not in a way that is authentic. She struggles to communicate it in a way that feels, well, of course you do, because it's all lies. It's tough to tell lies and sound authentic. You know what's not hard to sound authentic? When you tell people the truth. When you tell people what you're actually thinking. It's a lot easier to come across as authentic. That's a tip. I know I'm not an influencer like you, Glitter, but that's my tip on how to come across as authentic. Be authentic. Rocket Science from Dr. Phil.
But I do not think I would have been able
to let me play that again.
I didn't expect to be here in this position, and sometimes I'm still figuring out how to communicate that in a way that feels authentic.
Communicate in a way that feels authentic. That doesn't say it all right there.
And like real. But I do not think I would have been able to.
I want to communicate in a way that feels authentic, that feels real. Why can't you just be real? Why can't you just be authentic?
Get to the place I am right now in kind of looking at all of this without realizing just how many people out there have my back, but also how many people out there that I've actually like been able to help by finding diagnoses or just finding strength that maybe they'll get their answer to their, medical issues. And so I think,
how many people have you steered down this path of no return to endless medicalization? People who may need to be patients for the rest of their lives due to complications from unnecessary and ineffective plastic surgery. Who knows how many, Anna? I do know this, that you're never going to reimburse any of them for their pain, their time, or their financial loss.
I just feel like if I don't acknowledge you in this, I'm that would be the failure of this video, is to spend all this time talking about the frustrations of this process without acknowledging that like I'm only here in this point having this conversation with this camera because so many of you have been there.
It's tough. It's tough. She just drones on.
And that is really, really the only reason that I'm back is because of y'all.
Yeah, the money I can make from you folks. If I didn't think I could still squeeze a few dollars out of you, I wouldn't be here. I'm not that stupid that I would come back here just because I think, I don't enjoy making these videos. I don't enjoy reading the comments. I don't enjoy any of the channel membership. I don't enjoy spending time with any of you, but I can still squeeze a few bucks. So yeah, you're stuck with me a little bit longer.
Okay, well, I need to go get something to eat and get ready for surgery.
Money's running low.
That's happening tomorrow. Again.
for the last time for a while. I might have to have other surgeries in the future. I realize that, so I don't want to say forever.
You're going to have a lot of surgeries in the future, but they're probably going to be on your heart.
But at least for a long time. For a long time. And that's something to be really excited about.
Good morning. I'm very tired. It is 6 a.m. I've been up pretty much all night. I foolishly thought this is going to be the surgery I sleep through the night. It was not. I was up all night, and I guess that's just consistent with every other surgery I've had. So I'm exhausted, but that's fine because I'm going to be like, have a sleep for the rest of the day. So I can rest in surgery. I'm all surgery prepped, and they're kind of just getting everything ready. The anesthesiologist will be here soon. So now that markings are done, everything's done. It is.
You notice this time Dr. Amron doesn't actually get any camera time. He just puts the back of his head. Notice that? Instead of saying, "Oh, Dr. Amron, you're so wonderful," laughing and joking, she just puts the back of his head on camera for a few seconds.
For surgery, so they are going to go Hebe cleanse my body and get this rolling.
That's it. That's Dr. Amron. That's it. He gets like 1 minute.
I don't know if we'll have shots from this. This is a little bit more difficult to film while also keeping it appropriate for the internet. So you might just see me on the other side. I guess you'll know in a little
Be
bit.
careful what you wish for, Anna. We might end up seeing you on the other side.
If we were able to film or not. So I'll take you guys later.
So I just had my first MLD post-surgery. It's kind of weird.
Prayers for him, Fiona's mom. It's always sad to lose somebody at any age, but especially, so young.
Because of all the surgeries I've had, I feel like the most normal, the most me, the most comfortable after this surgery. I don't know if it's because it was the last one or if just like some magic is in the air in Utah. But honestly, I feel great. And if anything, I'm having to like temper down what I want to do because honestly, I feel really good. After this, I still have 2 weeks or so of recovery left, but really this is the end of my surgery journey as far as I know.
Look at is the sun in her eyes? I don't think so. The sun doesn't seem to be reflecting off of any of this. So why are her eyes like totally shut?
And now I get to just live. So yeah.
Her eyes are completely shut from all the pills.
Literally no regrets. More strong than I've ever said it in my life.
Literally no regrets. No regrets. This is the 4th time I think she said it this video. No regrets. Her eyes are completely swollen shut.
On this decision, I feel like how I feel right now is weirdly amazing, and I didn't anticipate to feel this good.
She feels weirdly amazing. No, you should expect to feel this good. You're loaded up on pills.
I didn't.
Okay, so we're back from Utah. I am 2 weeks post-op right now, so honestly, I'm starting the journey towards just getting to be Anna without surgery looming over her head anymore.
Without surgery. I love how she's so excited about the end of her surgery journey. It's not a journey. You're still standing exactly where you started. You're just more cut up and more scarred. But you haven't really gotten anywhere. You just spun your wheels. You kicked up a lot of dirt. That's about it.
It's hard to explain that each surgery changes you a little bit more. It's not like you get out.
Yeah, after each one, your body's a little bit more cut up. You've spent a little bit more time on heavy medications.
Of surgery 1 and everything's magically fixed. You have to go through all of them. So you're kind of having to play this faith card of so much surgery before you get to see the big results. And so, that was a crushing anxiety on me. I don't know.
Anna talks about faith, and I don't want to, start talking about faith because I think faith's a very personal thing. But the way that she uses the term faith, does she have any other faith in her life? And not that she has to, but for her to put her faith, as she put it, into surgery, plastic surgery, is probably not the best place to put your faith. Now, I'm not saying you have to put it anywhere else, but plastic surgery is probably not where you want to put it.
What I would have done, I would have blamed myself Fortunately, I did start to see like the big changes really right after this surgery. By the time I left, Salt Lake, the day before I left, I was doing, over a mile walk at the little farm that's across from the center there, where the cows and all the cute little animals are. And honestly, it was a great distraction. So I wasn't really thinking about how much I was walking, but to be walking that much and feeling still really fine after it was unusual. And then the Salt Lake airport is notoriously very long if you're not flying Delta. I was not flying Delta. And I walked the whole thing. I didn't get a wheelchair. I didn't get help.
Didn't get a wheelchair? Since when did you need a wheelchair, Anna? I thought you always walked like three kilometers. Why would you need a wheelchair if you regularly walk like 5 kilometers?
I did it by myself. And I felt totally capable and okay doing.
She did it by, so hold on a second. Since when did Anna need a wheelchair to get through the airport? Why is she making such a big deal about not needing a wheelchair at the airport if she's never even mentioned needing one in the past? Did she just kind of acknowledge that she usually needs a wheelchair? Is that what she's implying?
That there have been times where I have flown home alone, especially surgery number 2, where I did not feel safe or good, or that I was okay, and was kind of terrified the whole time flying home. When I think about
those faces, but with never any tears,
good, or that I was okay,
cry face, no tears,
terrified the whole.
Remember that video Kate Winslet did? I showed it the other day. It was like 6 minutes straight of Anna crying without a single tear.
Time flying home. When I think about like what I learned through this process, I learned a lot about myself personally.
$7,000 a month.
Myself.
That's what I heard. $7,000 a month.
A creator, which is like a weird thing to have to also learn, but I did. Personally, I learned that good things take time. That sometimes the only way.
And let me mention, I hate to do it, but we're going to talk about grifting and Anna. I'll throw up my my join link, my membership link. Thank you to all the members. But memberships, I think, are temporarily suspended still. They should hopefully be back in a week, maybe the end of the month at the latest. But I still have my Cash App up, which you can always use if you'd like to send a donation to the channel. Always appreciated, never required. Let's get back to the show. But likes and sharing links, that always helps. That's free. So if anybody would like to share a link to the video on their social media, that is always very much appreciated.
Us through, and that it may not make sense the whole way through, but you just have to like trust the process. And there was a lot of trust in this journey, and a lot of like moments where maybe I didn't share those moments as much, but you wonder in the end, will this work for me? And I mean, honestly, I still don't know. So I still have a little bit of that like heaviness, but I'm trusting that process. I'm doing the things my doctors want me to do, and it's gotten me to the place I'm at right now, which is,
well, I can actually explain that. Here you are. Doctors in Texas would not operate on her because her body weight was too high. It was considered dangerous. I don't know if it was legal, as I think it was mainly legal, but it could have just been ethical, where they were just concerned that she would die on the operating table. They didn't want to take that risk, but they certainly didn't want to do it for legal purposes either. So that's why they couldn't operate on her in Texas. That's why she went to California initially. Why she this time went to Utah. Apparently, the ALT opened up a new center in Utah. And I guess that if they were willing to operate on her in California, they'd operate her on Utah as well. That's Fiona's mom. My PayPal's never been up. But I am going to go look into that. I keep saying that, but I just have never really bothered to set one up. I had an issue with PayPal a while ago, and I just stopped using it like a few years ago, and I just have never bothered to get back to it. That's what that is with the PayPal.
significantly better than when I started. It's helping me realize that some of the bigger goals and the bigger things I want to do with my life, which may or may not have anything to do with the internet, are going to take time, and it's going to be frustrating.
But yes, let me answer your question there, Blue Eyes. What they operate on. This is their 4th lipedema surgery. Let me show you the picture. This is the before and after of her lipedema, of the liposuction surgeries. The one in the top there is the first. That's the second. That's third. That's the fourth. Good luck if you could figure out which came first. But yes, 4 liposuction surgeries in 6 months, I believe, 9 months.
the time it takes. But if you can stick with it, you know, you will get there in the end, right? I believe I will get there in the end. And I think this journey has taught me
Good to see you.
that. Publicly, I think what I learned
Thinner,
is that I
much
don't
thinner.
owe anybody an explanation or a justification for why I've made the choices I've made.
She doesn't know any explanation or justification. What about the people who followed your example and are not happy with what they did? What about the people who inevitably who are going to go and get liposuction to emulate you? Then they're going to also have no results. They're going to be in pain. They're going to possibly have an addiction to painkillers. And they're going to have followed in your footsteps, Anna. Don't you feel you owe them an explanation? Don't you feel you owe them an apology?
For my health. And, you know, this year has been really awful in terms of the way people have spoken about me online, have, you know, critiqued what I've gone through, and to be going through something. Oh,
it's really awful how people have critiqued. Some people probably have been rude or maybe even inappropriate, cruel. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of other reactors. But I know here, all I've done is critique spreading medical misinformation, grifting your audience, and just general hypocrisy.
Woke up something as traumatic, like surgery is traumatic. It is
traumatic. It's traumatic. Anna, this was voluntary cosmetic surgery. If it was traumatic, it's because you got the surgery when you were so heavy that it caused additional complications. If you were at a healthy weight prior to getting this surgery, you would have had a very quick, likely would have had a short time in recovery, would have likely gotten good results, and wouldn't have been traumatic.
Difficult. It is heavy emotionally. It is heavy physically.
At least it
it's heavy socially. It's heavy financially. Like it hits you in a lot of different ways. And to have people jump in and add an additional layer of trauma or try to
I gotta leave the cursor off.
Trauma made me realize that people who feel comfortable doing that to someone are not people I should listen to or people I should invite into my life.
I love this summary at the end. Anybody who critiques me is not somebody I should listen to. If somebody disagrees, that's not the kind of person I need in my life. I love how Anna just completely dismisses the idea of any critique or self-improvement. If somebody is the kind of person who would disagree, that's not somebody I need in my life.
Jump in and add an additional layer of trauma.
Oh yeah, this is even better.
It's heavy financially. Like it hits you in a lot of different ways. And to have people jump in and add an additional layer of trauma or try to add an additional layer of trauma.
Try to add an additional layer of trauma. The level of self-importance, unwarranted self-importance, to think that people are trying to traumatize you. First of all, Anna, all it takes to traumatize you is say, good job getting out there. All it takes to traumatize you is give you the wrong bagel. So I don't think anybody has to try to traumatize you if what you say is true. But again, nobody is actually trying to traumatize you. Nobody cares that much. And if anybody is trying to traumatize you, who? Who is this? Who's trying to traumatize you? I don't believe that.
Made me realize that people who feel comfortable doing that to someone.
Oh, thank you, Fiona's mom. I appreciate that. I appreciate that about you.
Or people I should invite into my life. And so, honestly, this surgery has helped me create boundaries. It's a weird thing to say, but it's made me realize that I deserve to protect myself.
I deserve to protect myself. But who's going to protect you from you? You deserve to be, Anna, everybody deserves some protection. But who's going to protect you from yourself? Nobody has done more harm to you than you have.
Like that no matter what I do in my life, people are not going to like parts of it.
But the people who don't like parts of it aren't the ones cutting you up. They're not the ones stuffing the food down your face or the alcohol or the pills or whatever it is that's harming you. That's not from your critics. So you may not like what your critics say, but your critics are not what's causing harm in your life. The only person who's traumatizing you, as you like to say, is you. And that's the one person who's you can't stop for whatever reason. Your words are not keeping you away from yourself.
not going to believe me, or they're not going to want to support me. Like, that's life. And when you are a creator that is like really freaking public, and you're going to get a lot more of those people because you're just have more eyes on you. I've had some pretty
Hard work buys
crazy
a lot of
changes
goodwill.
in the last week and a half. It made me realize how much I was carrying and living with and putting up with and not acknowledging. Simply
This music is so hopeful, but she's really, if you listen to her words, she's basically sounds hopeless. She's saying like, I've given up on trying to show people that they're wrong, and I'm just going to ignore everybody. And if you don't agree, you should get out of my life. And I'm not going to log on to YouTube anymore. And I need to protect myself. Why do you have this positive, cheerful music playing when you're just talking about how terrible everything is?
because I didn't know that there was anything different than that. And so if anything, I'm walking out of this just so much more grateful to the person I went in, who did a lot of really incredible hard things in a body that just did not cooperate.
Body just did not cooperate. Yeah, your body did not cooperate. That's right. Because your body is the reason why your surgeries have not been successful and why you've regained all the weight. Because your body just stuffs food in there on its own, stuffs alcohol in there on its own. You have your body just ignores your soul. Your soul is saying, I don't want to eat, I don't want to be heavy, but your body just won't listen. Lipidema warrior, betrayed by her body. Where's my old picture? It's just so sad. It's so sad. Not burnable fat. Dr. Amron, back when he and Anna were on better terms. And of course, the end game. Let's watch the last few moments of the video here.
And so, you know, it's making me really think about how do I be part of the change in the way people see and understand this illness. So it's just changed. It's changed everything. Is that the simple answer? Is it's changed everything. And it is changing me in ways that I don't even know yet. When I think about what's next, obviously I'm back, and I will be bringing back hauls because I have heard you loud and clear.
Just gonna bring back the fashion hauls. Ooh, now we can really see how clothes do not fit. This is gonna be, she's just gonna end up getting a lot of cell phones because now with these fashion hauls, it's gonna be obvious how ineffective these surgeries have been.
I miss them. And you know what? I'm excited to do them now with my body changing. It's gonna be fun to like.
I'm excited to do my body changing. It's gonna be fun. Odd definition of fun.
Or my new ride. I basically had the human version of Pimp My Ride. So I want to.
Anne has no problem pimping herself out for money.
Explore, you know, what works for my body now. And then that'll be fun to do with you guys through hauls. And I think there will be more than that. But I'm letting myself be open. The reason I'm back is because I love this community and because y'all have reached out and because you've been so kind to me and so supportive and so.
Talk about mixed messages. She spent the first, 25 minutes of this video talking about how horrible we are and about how toxic YouTube is. And now she's like, well, I'm coming back because I love it so much.
Encouraging. And it made me realize that I need to find ways to connect more with you. It's just the beginning of something really exciting and fun.
Well, you know, you could connect more. Number one thing you could do is you could turn the comments on and stop filtering them and actually let people tell you what they think if you really do want to connect with us.
And that's taking me back to where all of this started for me. It's been a lot. We've talked about a lot. And I feel like I needed to do this to just like catch y'all up on like where I was, what I did, etc., etc. So now you know. Now you know everything that's gone on, what I've been through, etc., etc. And now we get to start having some fun. So with that, I hope you find joy in your life today. I hope you find a reason to smile, and I'll see you guys next time.
Glitter, thank you. This video has actually given me a lot of joy, and I hope it's given you all a lot of joy with my reaction. I just wanted to respond to a comment really quickly. I think Fiona's mom, I just didn't want to break up the end of the show there, but that's a very fair point. I think that I hope that people are being well-meaning, but if they're not, that's unfortunate. I hope you don't have to go through too much of that. best wishes with you there. You know, stay strong. But everybody, yeah, that's it for tonight. I didn't even get to cover Foodie tonight. But hey, you know what? There was just too much good content. I couldn't do it tonight. I couldn't do it. Well, I am tired out. I know the show didn't go that late tonight, only 10 minutes late, but I am burnt out. But I had a lot of fun. I think it was a great episode. All right, folks, let me turn on the music and close it out. Do 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 do. There it is. Do. Good night, everyone. Good night, Capricorn. Good night, Sense of Wander. Good night. Here you are. Yeah, I think it was a good show tonight. Not to be egotistical, but I did think it was a good one. Yeah, we're not missing. She actually did some interesting videos, in my opinion. The one where she went to the what was it, the fair or the theme park, whatever it was. I thought that one was kind of interesting. Glitter and Lasers is the glue that holds YouTube together. Take her to the glue factory. Good night, Denise. Good night. Yes, everyone, be sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like button, and be sure to share the link. Yeah, that really helps the channel a lot. That's always very much appreciated. Good night, Nutty. Good night. Good night, Nirvana. You're very welcome. Oh, it's got something. Missed all these. Yeah, you're very welcome, Fiona's mom. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Oh, thank you, Tucker and friends. My apologies, I miss anybody. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Empress Shavin. All right. My apologies, I missed anyone. And everybody, I hope you all have a fantastic night. And don't listen to Glitter and Lasers. Not if you know what's good for you. Good night, everybody.